Perfect. There we go. Anyhow, good to see you guys. This is the 16th of December. I'm gonna have to look as I think I planned all the events for next let's see, for next year, and I think I intentionally stopped it around this time as well, because this year I actually had a meeting on the 23rd that I had to cancel. I don't want to have to do that. If you guys don't mind, I'm just going to take a couple of seconds. I sent an email about this, and this might be old news to you guys, but just explain what I'm doing next year in terms of how we're doing this. So if you guys remembered, I did a little survey halfway through, spoke to a few people, and I've also been listening. People have been sharing things when I meet with one-on-ones with them, and I try to take into account some of those things, and then also just make life easier for myself too, because I'm a member of this group as well. So I changed I changed how we're doing it next year, 2026, which is like weeks away, right? So we're going to be meeting on the first Tuesday of the month and the second Tuesday of the month. So now it's twice a month, not 3 times a month, which is good. In between that, I'm going to try and get some more in-person meetings fit in. So at least once a quarter in different areas. And I've kind of gotten that fine-tuned this year, figured out where those are. We're going to have 2 topics that we'll talk about. One will be more macro, what share trends, challenges, or information that you've heard about the sector in general. Like, and I'm talking the whole B2B sector, right? So we'll talk, and that'll come from your area of the world and how you see it. And that's good because it helps us get to know you better and what you do. And then the net benefit is everybody knows what you do a little bit better. They can service their client a little bit better and hopefully work with you guys and collaborate with you, right? The second call is, because everybody's always wanted a member call, I just put a same sort of thing. This time it's the third Tuesday, now it's going to be a member update. So what's happened to you? A different business model. You might have a different positioning, new client that you want to share, stuff that get to know you more on a micro level, what you do, right? And I figured those 2 things are going to help with our main core of like, how can we collaborate together? How can we help each other, with referrals and things like that. So that's kind of what's going on next year. I also changed the time of the meeting. I just, for myself, the 3 o'clock meeting, I was trying to make it an afternoon thing for people out west. There's not a ton of people out west. There's Dave and there's Angela and maybe there's a couple others. So I still kept the time to work for them, but I made it more like, for me, the afternoon, I don't know about you guys, but the afternoon is like my head down time. I get a lot of, the morning I'm scrambling. I'm not a morning person, so I do all the crap I hate doing in the morning, answer emails, send out emails, get organized. But the afternoon is really a head down time for me to get stuff done. So I kind of pushed the meeting up from 3 to 1, which still means if you're in Vancouver, it's like 10 o'clock. So not first thing in the morning. Or like Dave in Calgary, I think it's 11. And for us, we're just coming off of lunch, or if you have other lunch obligations, hopefully that doesn't get in the way. But we finished that meeting, you still got the afternoon ahead of you to work. So I changed those 2 things. So hopefully that works with you guys. So look, if you haven't already, RSVP to the meeting so it gets into your calendar, et cetera, et cetera. Any thoughts on that? No? So for today, so last week we had a really interesting conversation. We talked about, I just said, I was looking back and said, what a year. Like, you kind of get to the end of the year and like, did I sorry, I'm just turning something off in the background. Did I make any progress last year? And I started thinking about it before the call, and I was like, oh, wait a second, I did this, I did that. And that's what we kind of talked about last week. This time I want to focus a little bit more from an operational perspective, and specifically for your company. And if you don't have one, you can use one to client. What did you do? What did you tweak? What process did you put in place that really helped you? It could have been efficiency, it could have been save more money, better profit margins, more revenue, less work. What one little secret can you share with us that you did that was operational gains? Let's put it that way, right? And it can be I'm just dropping this on you now. So if you can't think of anything, you're welcome to use one that you found for one of your clients. But I'm hoping to get some cheat sheets. So I'll start. So for me, I was I think back, I'm like, oh, what a horrible year. It was a tough year for business and things like that. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of chaos going on. But I did a couple things for this group. One of the biggest changes for me is setting and playing and just making the final decision to spend some money and get this app. I went through this long process, evaluated probably about 10 of them, and really got one that I felt was going to fit what I needed from it. So what I gained from that, and these weren't obvious at the beginning, it's like I got back a lot of time. So for me, the events, people go and sign up for their own events. It does, and this is really simple stuff, but it's helped a lot. It does reminders. When I post an event, it tells everybody about the event. When they sign up, I've got it. I can set reminders. So I do a 1 week and a 1 day and then an hour. So it completely removed that part of my time. It helped me with, I used to qualify everybody that got into the group, which was needed, but also time consuming. Great, because I got to meet new people, but it was always talking about them, rarely talking about me, right? So this app gives me intros, and it automates a lot of that, and it does those things. That was, from that group standpoint, was good. I also did I was able to have more time for myself. Like, we met 3 times a month instead of once a month, and I still had a lot more time for myself. That was a real win for me within that group. And I think from the efficiency and effectiveness perspective, narrowing down who the members of the group were, what we're talking about, really helped me from my perspective in terms of like getting the right people to be in this group. And we got the numbers right down. The conversation is a lot more transparent, a lot less transactional, a lot less buy my business, I do this, a lot more like, hey, here's how I work, how can we work together? And which is exactly how I started it 5 years ago, and that kind of morphed into a group. So that was neat. From my own perspective, I've been playing around. Like this year, I don't know about you guys, but I can't remember. We got if somebody wants to mute. Somebody's got talking in the background. If you guys could just maybe mute if you're not muted. Yeah. Hey, Henrik, is that you? Like, you just
yeah, I'll give a mute.
Yeah. There, we got all that recorded on there. Perfect. So from my business perspective, just did a lot of organizing and narrowing things down in terms of what I do. I could keep hearing people say you got a niche. I tell people they got a niche, but actually, like, recognizing yourself, you got to do that. So I did that quite a bit this year. I've gotten like really fine-tuned in terms of what I do. Like, I haven't changed anything, but just like gotten a little bit more tighter in terms of what I offered. Put into play some assessments, more definitions. I just finished today, did an FAQ, which was like, sorry, that's what I was talking about. I was talking about AI. Like, I don't know about you guys. I can't remember when it started, when it stopped. I've been playing around with Gemini. Like, I use Gemini because I have Google Workspace. It fits into my environment. I have access to others, like through my relationship with Northern. I've got access to Chat, Perplexity, Claude, Copilot. They have one window that gives you access to all of them, and they pay for it to, in light that we use it. I was using ChatGPT quite a bit through there to work with them and help them. But I've noticed recently, and I don't know if you guys heard, this is more for investors, but there's been a lot of competition between Google and OpenAI in terms of realizing this is going to be a winner-take-all market, much like the browser wars were back in the days. And there was a point in time when Google put a red flag out, an internal red flag, which got out. Stuff just gets out, right? They're really concerned about OpenAI and where it was going with the market and what it could do to the search market. And they just put their heads down and they just put everything they could to invest into their AI and all their systems in general. Like, in fact, I got an email the other day saying, hey, we are now automatically pushing through all our updates, and you're welcome to evaluate them for a week, or you can get them immediately, right? And I have noticed through the year, and Google's always done this, updates just come, and they've really gotten really good in all their systems, but in particular AI. Like, for example, I work with a lot of documents. Like, I have to pull information from a ton of documents. Uploading them to AI was just taking a drastic amount of time. So I switched back to Google, who put a ton of money into their systems as a result, particularly one called Google Notebook. If you've worked with that, if you work with projects, it's a good one. You can upload up to 50 sources, up to 50 kilobytes of information, and you could just keep a project open and keep going, referring back to it. So for me, as I toggle between projects, that was really effective for me. So that was really super helpful and helping me narrow down who I was and get that wordsmithing down a lot better. So wow, that was a long time. Hopefully that gave you guys a long time to think about what works for you guys. I've done my bit here to take a lot of time. But the net effect is like, I feel, the investment in this networking group freed up a lot of my time to put back into my business, which was really important to me, because I got near the end of 2024 and I was like, should I get rid of this? Because it has become a part-time job that is dramatically impacting my time for what I really need to do. And I was really debating. So that was a huge win. Getting it organized, keeping the group, keeping these meetings, keeping the core group together, but also freeing up time for my business and allowing me to invest a lot more back into it. So that's me in a nutshell. So operationally, I feel like I'm in a much better spot to start 2026. Okay, that was long. Does anybody else want to go next and maybe do it more efficiently than I did? Anybody else want to take that? And I'll repeat what we're doing, because he probably lost it in that long-winded response there. But I just said, from an operational perspective, is there like a little nugget? It could be really small. Like nothing I've said there was really, earth shattering, but it was really helpful for me, right? It could be a little nugget that just helped you along. But what did you do that you could share with us that really was a win for you operationally this year? Do you guys want to go? Who wants to go? Miranda, thank you. Yay.
So we did a few little things that have really helped. So one thing I did was I was doing a lot of RFPs, and I found the RFP process exhausting, and I didn't like the text that we kept copying and pasting into each new RFP. So I did some work with agenda marketing, and we rewrote 4 sections of the RFP that are like the common sections, like approach, methods, that kind of stuff. So I got them to help me rewrite it. And so now I have like a good starting point for every RFP. And I know like these sections are done well. The other ones I will personalize. Instead of feeling like, oh, I don't like what my text is saying, right? So I've done that. And we've also done some website SEO work with Christina recently. And that is starting to really help the website and how it shows up. So that's a little more of a long game, but it's something that had to be done, and we had to take the time to do it. It's taken a long time because we have a huge amount of content on the website that needed fixing, but we were also able to kind of like throw away a lot of old, dated, like garbage, and just keep the more up-to-date things in the sectors that we really want to work on or work with. So it's a little more focused. It's not particularly niched, but it is a little more focused. And then another thing that we did that is not necessarily applicable to any of you was we had a few big projects earlier this year, which was like a series of videos. Like one was 8 videos, one was 5 videos. So it was a series, and it takes a lot of time. And it was very much interview based. So a lot of talking that we had to go through. And I said, look, there's got to be an AI that can help us. There has to be something that we can do, because we got rid of our junior assistant about a year ago. So we didn't have that person around who could do all of those hours of that kind of work. And we were able to find an AI, which is very specific niche to what we do, using the type of files. Like, this is not a consumer product. This is not for people with their phones. And it was very, very helpful in just getting rid of a lot of hours that we would have spent. So, if you're looking for something that's very particular to what you are doing, don't just think it's the normal common things. Go and look for something that is very specific, because there were quite a few options. We tried quite a few, and we settled on one that it does cost $1,000 a year, but it's actually like even more useful than a junior person is.
Oh, those are good wins. And thanks for sharing all those. $1,000 a year to I don't know what you paid your junior assistant, but let's just say 35,000 maybe. So $35,000 worth of savings, $34,000, bad math, sorry, shouldn't do that live.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
a,
So
that's a
it's
huge,
actually like, it's been good because now, like, my company is more profitable than it was before. So it's good. And it's something that would also help to get the finished product to the client quicker. So it really is a win for everybody.
and I like what you set up the RFPs. I mean, that is a bulk of what I do it's all I do for Northern these days. And I get you. When you get a process and you can get what you need out a lot quicker and then focus on the bespoke elements that are really important, I think it makes it huge. And obviously it's working for you. Otherwise you wouldn't put yourself through the torture of doing the RFPs, because it is time intensive. Is that for government work that you're doing it mostly, or is it actual clients that are
Yeah, I
asking
would
for it?
say, I would say mostly municipal. Yeah.
Yeah, then they're required. They have to do a fair, equitable opportunity there. Well, one thing I've done,
Yeah.
and I've been at least 3 years for Northern doing theirs. They always talk about big buckets, but one thing I've noticed in the RFPs a lot lately, I'll keep this quick, is they're really asking for a lot more bespoke solutions. Like they're literally like, used to be you just put a pitch deck together and with answer a few questions. It's become much more like these are the questions, and they may be using AI to put these together to be more bespoke to them. What I found is taking a lot of that written work, and then if you really want to make it tailored to a particular company, you can obviously put that into your documents, your chat, your whatever flavor of AI you're using, and then put the RFP, and then even write a little bit of strategy in there, and then it's going to say the same thing, but more in a window and a vein that they'll appreciate more. And I think it's going to be more and more important as you go along. Like we've had to do more, Northern's had to do a lot more spec work and a lot more really focused, deep questions that I end up taking the brunt of. So just a thought, but they end up rewarding you with some pretty rich, like government contracts can last up to 5 years at times, and with pretty decent budgets and really pretty fun work that you're doing as well. You think government boring, but the government's actually doing some pretty interesting things right now. So that was the last,
Yeah.
the other one. So those are really good. What was the last? And you had one other one too that I might slipped my mind now.
We did the website SEO
Yes.
with Christina. Yeah, and I think it has been helping. I mean, we haven't put any paid money into any like paid SEO stuff, but just organically, I am noticing an increase in leads coming through the website, which is, something I would not have had 2-3 years ago, for sure.
Yeah, it's a huge, and I'll let Eden can talk to this, but this concept of owned, earned, paid, and there's another acronym there. I can't, there's another one that goes in there. I can't remember the fourth one there, but when you do something you earn, like you get that compounding effect. Like every time somebody goes to your website, they see the same effect. So it's really, really helpful there. So it's good. Eden, what about you? Did you have any real winners? That sounds really good. Winners.
I don't know. I mean, I would say technology is so baked into what I do, and expanding my use of it is so much a part of who I am that it's hard to say if there's like a specific winner. I'm learning how to use what I have more efficiently thanks to AI. I'm learning how to create agents that not only help me with my work, but also help me in reframing the mastermind programs that I offer. And it's helping me offer them in a personalized way. So, people can go into a Spodek & Co. branded GPT and ask questions to get specific answers and do exercises that relate to their business and their needs that then they can bring back to the group. But it's very custom because online education is moving more and more to a customized experience. So it helps bridge the gap, but also has that human piece. And it's been interesting. And I just read or skimmed through parts of Forrester's latest report on trends for 2026. But as much as we're having a growth in technology, sorry, my arms, we're also seeing this growth in, I don't know, freeing up human time or understanding the greater importance of human time. And it's that ability to balance those two almost juxtaposed concepts that are going to get people ahead. So it's not losing the human touch and being able to invest more in relationships and thinking about and thinking like humans while we're using the technology to help us enable doing things more efficiently and enable us to do that. I don't know. And I've really, a lot of the tools I'm already using have so much, these updates are so baked in that it just has become part of the DNA. I don't know.
If you go
it's
back
more
to
exponential than huge jumps in finding.
If you had a coffee with Eden Spodek from 2024 around this time to Eden Spodek now, it would be I think like these changes are so subtle, but they compound over a while. It's just like it's like things are different now. I mean, things are different in terms of how you do things, how you're able to work with clients, maybe even who you're able to work with, and how you're choosing clients too. Maybe, who knows?
How I'm choosing clients has changed, but I would say that's more of a human decision than a machine decision. However, I'm like, I don't know, there's a lot, and I'm not really ready to put my finger in the sand and say this one, but there's things that I can do. Like, you don't have to repeat as much. If you figure out a service offering, for example, you can use different tools to help you fine tune it. You can help them to fine tune your audience. You can get help to scale it. You can then figure out, okay, this is how I'm scaling it for this type of audience. How can I then repeat it for a different audience and bringing customizations there? And I don't know, I've been doing, things that are, just away from that. And I've recently started doing some things in Notebook LLM. However, it's not where I need it to be for what I want to do, because I'm doing less of, I was shown a great example from a creative perspective. So it's not where I need it to be just yet for that. But it'll get there.
I saw a promo from Jasper recently. I can remember what it was, but it was some really interesting stuff that they're getting to. We think about that's the marketing AI, at least that's what they're trying to own. So it will be interesting to see. Yeah, there might be some main overall solutions like OpenAI, like just like the browsers. But I think like what you've discovered, Miranda, and then we'll all discover is there's going to be unique ones specific for our agency, specific for our needs, to allow us to do that. But like what you're talking about, Ian, when I used to talk about landing pages, like microsites, the infamous agency microsite landing pages, I used to explain the reason why it's important to have landing pages is you have your value proposition, but in order to explain to this specific audience exactly what it means in a really limited amount of time, that's a landing page can help bridge that gap between who you are and how you face the world and the problems you solve and how that would relate to them. It's kind of like that. When you're doing what you're doing, the AI makes that really easy to bridge those little gaps for everybody, right? Even I think it was Mark Tham from Muse was saying, and a couple others have said they've gotten their first AI. It was Jody, that was the other one that said, I got my first AI only lead. They did a search. It had what they were searching for had nothing to do with what my website, but definitely the services I did. It was like AI was able to bridge the gap between what this person was looking for, the services they provide, and matching them together. And I think Mark and both Jody found that. So that's the huge element right now with all the noise of the internet, the beginning. It's like, how do you stand out? But maybe it's going to be like, no, people are going to find you a little easier. Who knows?
Well, I have a colleague who figured out some nice loophole. Well, not even a loophole, but figured out how to use memories in ChatGPT, help make those matches and kind of circumvent SEO and really just go right to the AI search. And then ChatGPT sort of realized some people were able to do that and put a wrench into it. And I don't know why, because it's not a bad thing. It's just enhancing the way people can find you. But for about 6 months, she was creating a referral engine and helping clients create a referral engine for their services or sole practitioners, and it was really effective. So, you know, it's too bad that it doesn't exist. I think the other thing is that content, for all of us who create content, is still key, and content that's unique and doesn't appear to be written by machines is what's going to help all of us who use it to stand out, no matter what the technology is, because the only way we have to differentiate ourselves right now is content. I don't know. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens with search overall. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens with paid media on AI tools.
That's interesting, and they're still trying to figure it out themselves. So I think that'll be evolving too. It's interesting that advertising as a business model, as a mechanism to get revenue, is still, like, from the beginning of time, is still like a real prominent model for those, like, service and podcasts and things like that.
Yeah, but it depends. So I had sorry, if I'm going off, let me know. I have been talking to a prospective client, I don't know what's going to happen there, who'd been just throwing spaghetti against a wall to see what sticks with AI. You know, I don't know how many of you find this on the marketing side, there's people like, I can use the tools, so I'm trying, and I don't need to hire anybody to help me navigate this. But you know what I was doing isn't working anymore, or I'm trying to scale things and I can't get it to work, and I really need to be more strategic. And I want a quick win, so some quick wins, so I want to go into Google Ads. Well, if you go into Google and you see that Google's AI overview isn't picking up anybody in their area, in their field, and the only businesses being picked up there are all paid ads, literally taking up the half of the first page of Google search, which is very rare today because now we're seeing AI overview. To me, there's an opportunity to improve your content. And while organic content it's an opportunity for organic content without having to pay for ads right now. So why bother with search, right? With paid search ads? Focus on being I hate to be cliche, but the thought leadership party. Focus on publishing content that sets you apart, that's unique from your competitors. Have it published in such a way and seeded in places where people and tools can pick it up, and that will help your rankings with AEO or AI search. So there's different opportunities, but nothing is in stone right now. It's like one of these great settling, or not even settling times, but figuring it out times for everything, because models that we were using 2 years ago aren't working anymore.
And last thing, did you end up buying your laptop finally, or you bought it?
That's why I was a little bit late, because I didn't have. It was trying to get me to join. It was trying to get me to join. The heartbeat again.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's.
And I forget what I've done and what I haven't. I have some things set up and other things not. I got it the day that we saw.
Yeah, that's right, you did. I remember your husband took it home. Passwords. I've been using the Passwords app inside Mac, which I find pretty easy to use, pretty helpful if you're using a Mac, and it works like my whole house, because I do the IT in my house. It's all Apple, so it works really nicely across devices.
I've got everything set up for all that, but it's just the first time that you log into something from a device, you're starting from zero again. And things like Chrome, if you have extensions saved and then they're gone. So it's that kind of thing. It's not, I don't have, like, my passwords, I have all good. I don't have on recording what I'm doing. They're there. I have access to all that stuff. It's just that I have to figure out what needs all this.
I'm going to have to ask you, not this call, but later, maybe I'll give you a couple months to see how your what the gains you've got for the new system, because they have some AI built in, the new tools, new apps and stuff like that. So I'm going to bug you in a few months.
Oh, an app. I don't know if I'm going to, I mean, for me, the biggest thing right now is just having a quieter machine that's faster.
Yeah, it's not humming as much. Nice.
No, it was terrible before. So
how about you, Henrik? What one thing would you put your finger on? Or even one thing, a few things, or culmination of things?
Sorry, there's some background noise. So someone.
Yeah, it's okay. Go ahead.
Someone doing the come back to me. So
no problem.
I haven't done as many operational things, and I haven't been for the reason as interested in AI. I know a friend of mine. He was speaking. He had a conversation with ChatGPT, and he sort of got behind the veil, and he had very interesting conversations with ChatGPT. That was back in April of 20. Yeah, I guess April of 25. Well, this year, I guess, but it was 6 months ago. They have instituted guardrails now, so I find at least twice now. So I find ChatGPT to be a lot. I mean, you can still get answers to like, what should you do as a CFO for the first 90 days and things like that. They'll come up with, but it's a little less interesting. For what I do, I guess I haven't implemented it, but you can use AI to sort of find out more. Like so you have some financial information. Like now, what are the risks and what are the opportunities, and AI can come up with some good things there. So, I mean, that's Power BI and all that stuff. So, but I haven't really implemented that. But so I don't have any kind of operational things set up. So it's a lot shorter than the three of you. So.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be AI. I'm just thinking like just the way you do things, your processes, like what comes first, what comes last. When you get a new client, is there a pattern for onboarding? When you're with an existing client, are some reports not as valid anymore, some more central now, or maybe you've been doing it for a long time that's you've got it down.
Yeah, no, I sort of don't have if I had was more specialized, I could really sort of get onboarding a lot faster, but I haven't really changed anything. It's really, you dig in and find out. I think I'm learning a few things. About the efficiency of the operation or the financial operations, really getting into the flow of information. Like I did that before, but get that done even faster. That's kind of won't change that down. So, but nothing big.
Did you get involved with so one of the things I was hearing from a lot of companies is not just the tariffs themselves, but the confusion of tariffs, like in all the paperwork, that they would have a junior person doing all their shipping and their cross-border transactions. Now they have to have much more senior person because it's become extremely complex. So the amount of money they're investing to make sure that they get because if you don't get it right, you could get tariffs that are much higher than.
Yeah, no, I haven't had any sort of, like I've dealt mostly with service companies that don't really have hasn't really been applicable. Nice. So I'm afraid not really the person to ask about that, but I know it's been an area of confusion for a while now, and it's gone back and forth. And so I can, but I know at least for small people that do a little bit of exporting, the costs are higher. So, but I don't really know too much about it.
That's an interesting point. It hasn't been as common knowledge that the services weren't tariffed because they were just too hard there's no tariffs on services and people. But I wonder, do clients on each side of the border know, like, do they just assume everything's tariff? There's tariffs for everything, like they're not ultimately aware. But I know with Northern does a lot of work in the US and we're not impacted by the tariffs. But even just a little bit of confusion about who I can work with, who I can't work with,
Well, you're supposed in the US, once you pay anything over $600, so you have to sort of disclose and have various W forms, and depends on who your client are in the US, how diligent they are in reporting that. So if you are have a client in the US, they might say, because they are, I guess, are trying to have Americans do the work, so they have to have. There was one client I had a few years ago, and but they ended up, the one junior person, well, we have to have this form filled out and this form filled out, this one, and then one of the senior person, I forget about all that. It's just big. But I don't know. I haven't had a lot of US clients, so let me ask you, Richard, have you had any sort of pushback from the US clients that, in terms of reporting on W-2 forms and whatever, not as an foreign independent contract or anything like that? Have you had that?
For my business, I only work with Canadians right now, but for definitely there's been, so not, it's going to be from the RFP side of things, but on the Canadian side, there's definitely a need to prove you're Canadian. And there's definitely a push to work with Canadian entities. And also there's still the indigenous push as well to what part of, like, there's a percentage point. With the US, it depends on the state. The typical states that would have always given you a hard time if you're not American have upped it quite a bit. But we're still doing a lot of work we're still answering a lot of RFPs for the US. And it really hasn't changed. Ironically, I was expecting a lot more pushback, and like at the beginning of the year, we were like turning down RFPs for the US as a result of that. But we started responding to them and still getting a lot of business with it. It's really state by state, sometimes even county by county, in terms of how people are putting hurdles in the way if you're not, and it's mostly for them. I think they still welcome Canadians, like a North American responded, but not overseas. And those were the ones that are putting the pushback in place are the ones that would have done it before the tariffs were there anyhow. And so in that sense, nothing really changed for us other than our own pessimism, at the beginning that prevented us from responding to some of the RFPs versus others. Like if we had a choice of, you got 10 to write, I can only write 10, these 10 are not going to happen because we're worried we won't be accepted. That happened quite a bit at the beginning. We filtered a lot of the US related ones. Northern's a little different, and they've got two actual separate identities, two businesses, one for Canada, one for the US. So they actually respond to working with a US identity with a US company, and respond to Canadian work with a Canadian company. But I still in my RFPs will stay because North America is broad. It's really important to say that they have offices all across Canada. It's more of a vertical set, like east-west, like I'm the East, I have these type of problems. I'm the West, I have these type of problems. I find more so than across the border type of concerns. So I will preface that we have offices on the East Coast, the West Coast, in Central kind of thing. That helps with, I don't find people asking, are you American? Or it's more like, do you have businesses like mine, right? In my area that have the same sort of challenges. And those that are in Alberta, Calgary, Alberta, Manitoba, Saskatchewan are really similar to those in the north central and western states. So those tended to be pretty good. That was a completely off topic, but I hope that made sense. But
no, that's fine. That's fine. I was going to be good time left, and I don't have anything else to say.
Yeah. That's good. Oh, that's good. So some real wins in there. I mean, I think it's a good exercise to do that at the end of the year, because sometimes if you had a bad couple of months and you let that sort of immediacy kind of set your perspective, it really give you an unusual view. But if you look a little longer and remember where you were at the beginning of the year, it can kind of open up things a little bit. So I have I have some game plans I put in play at the beginning of last year. I managed to see them through all the way through. This year I have some, and my changes tend to be more incremental than they are from a dramatic perspective. So I set some plans in play for this year, for next year, based on what I've learned for the entirety of last year. I try to have a good reflective look of what worked and what didn't from the beginning of the year to the end of the year, and then use that for a little bit of a projection in terms of how I wish I did things. One of the things I do more frequently, and this is just probably my dad talking to me in the back, always finish what you start, young man, finish what you start. So I tend to, good or bad, I will execute a plan till, when I said it was going to end, and then just kind of get some measurement and understanding from that. And then I'll set another plan in play this year. I do make incremental changes, but I try to stay in line with what I was trying to achieve. So I'm going to do that this year as well, if that makes sense. Do you guys find the same thing? Do you have rapid changes or anything like that, or?
I mean, definitely not rapid changes, no. But what kind of things do you put in place, Richard, to make sure your year goes as planned?
I will play around with what I'm selling and how I'm selling it, but the core of what I'm selling remains the same, right? So for this year, particularly near the back half of the year, I just found it, and I've been saying this is nothing new. I've been just feeling like what I was putting, like digital transformation is a big thing. It entails big changes. When there's uncertainty in the market, those big type of changes, those long-term type of changes can be pushed aside. So I've been trying to, I still think you can make gains with incremental changes as an organization. So I've been really trying to work hard on reducing the scale of working with me at the beginning, so where you can get some immediate gains, right? So like things like assessments, one day, like smaller little things like, so I put in play a software assessment. And I know that from a cost savings perspective, people waste a lot of money on software that they build and they just keep paying for, and they don't really use the whole full area of it. So one of the areas, it could be a cost savings for me and a net benefit and a sanity benefit. It's just like doing an assessment, like who's using what, right? So like if you've got 10 plus employees, you probably don't have a good idea of everything that you paid for every individual. You're just assuming they're not talking about it anymore. They're using it, getting full weight. So I found that could be a good entry point for me in terms of from a cost savings. It gets me into talking to the staff. It gets me into coming back with some real valid, hey, this is everything you're using. This is what it's costing you. And I can also do like cost benefit analysis, like, so what the labor implications are for that, and put a good argument together to say, like, you need to move forward for these reasons. And it's a cost-based rationale rather than a revenue-based one. So to me, I'm going to still do that. I'm going to still lean in with some smaller based help mechanisms where everybody gains. I gain because it's the less risk for them. It's an easier thing for them to chew on. They gain from the immediate benefit of that opportunity. But then I find, and probably you guys do as well, once somebody likes working with you, they just tend to want to keep working with you, right? And then you don't have that, when it's a new client, it's costs are important. Trust is important. Everything, all these hurdles are in place. But once you get past that first dollar spent and it's a good experience, I find even these little things can lead to a longer term relationship. If that makes sense. So, but that's what I've been working on a lot, trying to make my business, trying to make it smaller, long-term elements seem more reasonable and approachable and doable within a short period of time. How about you guys? Is there anything that you've changed, because of uncertainties in the market or anything like that? Or did you have to worry about it maybe?
I mean, we are considering making a social media only package. Like, we have a few clients who they just want some reels. They don't really want anything too in-depth or expensive. They just want some reels, and I think it's more for like medium size or small businesses. There's a lot of people who are in construction or HVAC or hairdressers, and they just, they work with the public. And and they just need to get as many new clients as they can because of the industry that they're in. Different from some of the video stories that we do for bigger corporate. So we were thinking that we need to have a package that is just reels, but it would be a retainer, so it would be every month. So I'm just kind of playing with those numbers to see if it's worth our while, if it makes sense. Yeah, that's just one thing we're thinking to offer people next year.
Would that be, would you go in and do like an initial filming and then use that film to cut up and use reels for so they would get a huge bang for an immediate, and then
it would be like once a month. We come once a month and we'll have something planned out on maybe 5 different things that you want to have, so that you have these 5 new reels or whatever it is, 8 new reels to last you the next month, and then we do it again month by month.
I like that. There is go ahead, Ian. Go ahead. You.
Okay. Sorry, Miranda, I don't mean to burst your bubble, but I just want to give you the opposite perspective from a friend of mine who is in the same industry as you. And I was also just reading something about this very topic today. With the way technology is going, it's becoming easier and easier to create social media quality content with your phone, with the tools that are out there. And you don't have to be somebody even comfortable creating video content to do it. Is it worth your time and effort to create a lower package, or would you be better off looking at organizations that really would benefit from higher price pointed professional video, and or as something we've done that you might be interested in? And I'm challenging other business owners, because we found was a niche for us this year. Would you consider doing a program at a lower margin, even if you cut some of the offering a bit and offer it to not-for-profits? I don't know if you saw what I posted 2 weeks ago, but it's working for us. Like, one post started a bit of a what do you call it? Like when the rock, I don't know. It's really growing, because I'm terrible at marketing our own company. We market other businesses well, terrible at my own. That really has picked up momentum. And yeah, we wanted to offer 6 spots for 2026. We're very close to filling half of those already. And that's in 2 weeks.
I'm not really following you, Eden. What was your post 2 weeks ago? I'm
sorry.
not following.
It was a not-for-profit offer. Sorry. What we did was one of the things our business does is we develop websites, which is not even anything you'll see on our website very much anymore. And we had 2 not-for-profits come to us. They were community organizations. They came to us this year and needed some help with the strategic communication piece. So that's where the whole strategic piece came in. And then with actually helping them do a scaled down version of creating a website, because let's say the organization can currently maintain and manage it in-house, they just didn't know how to get to a professional enough level of how to communicate effectively with all their audiences, or how to organize their content, or what their messaging should be, and then how to create a new homepage, let's say, and the drop down pages on their site. And they needed help with the architecture, the overall, and a bit of the design. So we've redesigned home pages and some of the other pages. And then depending on the size of their site or the needs, we'll either deliver a full new site or a partial new site. And either way, they can pick it up and continue building. And it's allowed us to scale the offering down small enough that we can offer it at a lower rate, but it's brought in business. And if you look at what you're currently offering and see if there's a way to scale it down a little bit, but still have the integrity of a program you're doing for a commercial business, you might find, and it will also give you case studies, and as opposed to breaking into something that's easier for people to do on their own. Just a thought.
So if I could summarize,
Sorry, I'm tired.
Yeah. You just want to stick with your target market, but offer a scale down package.
Well, it's you want to stick with your existing offerings. the type of work you're doing, but look at it. Can you scale it? Can you repackage it in a more cost conscious way, let's say, or resource friendly way for not-for-profits? So if she's going to look at a less expensive package, like think about how many clients would you need to get you the same revenue that you're getting from doing a current video package.
Well,
right?
I think, okay, so, well, two things. So we do have a price that is for not-for-profits, and we do work with a lot of not-for-profits, and they are priced completely different from corporate, obviously. But you know, the thing is, a lot of clients will find the budget to do one video production per year. And I am trying to get some clients who will have a budget to do every month a retainer. Because if you have 4 monthly retainers and you know you're going to spend 4 days of this month filming, that's fine. But it will be recurring, and it'll be every month. And I know you're saying that some clients can use their phones, which they can, but a lot of clients just tell me, I just cannot do this. I cannot do this with my phone. My staff don't have time. Like, think of the HVAC people. You send some HVAC people to go and do some HVAC work. Most of them don't speak English very well, and they are just not capable. And it's out of their job description to do any kind of
I totally get it.
job.
I totally get it. And I have clients who I'm doing things for because they don't have the time, but they thought, oh, we can do it ourselves now because all the tools are there. They took it back and now it's coming back. I'm just hearing from other people in similar businesses to you that revenue stream isn't work. Like, if it works for you, I hope it does. And it's great. It's just something they've pulled away from because it dropped for them as opposed to something that they could build out.
And it sounds that's your clientele that you've been working with anyhow, because you mentioned the HVAC. That's a clientele that you're familiar with. It's not like you're going after a new clientele.
Yeah, no, it's not new, but I just find that there are some clients who would love to work with us more, but they look at, you know, a $3,000 price point and they say, okay, I could do this once a year. But, you know, if you make it slightly cheaper, and you give them something, and also it's that they want more small bits of content like reels instead of a huge big video production. It's a different thing that they want. So I'm just trying to move with what the market wants, because I've had lots of people say, yeah, I spend, you know, $3,000 a month doing reels with a professional video crew because we want it to be professional. So I mean, it would be a lot easier if I had that recurring income throughout the year rather than having to find a new client every month to fill that, you know, $3,000 or $4,000 spot, right? Obviously, big corporate is better because big corporate is paying, you know, $8,000 and $10,000. But some of those big corporate clients would love to have great professional reels on their social media every week, but the in-house person is not capable or doesn't have time. So it's just an additional thing that I'm not broadcasting it very publicly, but it is something that I'm considering with some clients that I think might want more volume for the same kind of price. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's more work. It's just a different approach.
I like it. I mean, you're just, you're answering a need of a client that you know is a need because they've been telling you that, right? And you're not reducing your costs. You're just changing what you're offering to be more what they need. I think I think that'll be beneficial. And then you got different tier clients. The smaller tier will definitely gobble it up, but I think the larger ones will also find benefit from it too. Yeah, that's great. And recurring revenue, I think Henrik will tell you, is pretty good stuff for a business. Right, Henrik, is that a good thing? Can I? Yeah, he's muted, so he's nodding. Yes. That said.
Yeah, and it would have to be. It would have to be a subscription. It would have to be a monthly investment. Otherwise, it's not worth just doing very short, somewhat cheaper one-offs. That's not really worth doing either. No, yeah, you want to keep your quality up there. And one of the things I learned from working for another agency that tried that subscription model when it was really big in SaaS is try not to upfront too much of your services for fear that they cut you
halfway through. Just make sure that if you can deliver your services that matches the funding, or it doesn't put you in too off balance in terms of your costs. You've done everything. They don't really, and they're just taking their time. Like now you funded them basically. So that's tricky. But I'm curious. We'll have to talk to you in September and see how that goes. See what you learned from that. So that's good. Thanks for sharing that. All right, guys, it's 4:02. I'm doing a terrible job watching the time here. I got to get you guys back to work.
All right. Thanks a lot.
This is the last time we talk.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Yes.
Merry
Happy
Christmas.
holidays. Enjoy the New Year's. I look forward to seeing you guys in 2026 and seeing what's working, what's not. We'll have some immediate conversations in terms of what your plans are and seeing how those unfold through the year. So enjoy, guys. Bye now. No.